NASCAR goes points racing on foreign soil for the first time in 67 years, and a foreign-born driver wins in both series. So let's get into it. Coming up next. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. All right, Shane VanGisbergen, in his first full-time NASCAR Cup Series season, does what a lot of people thought he would do at the beginning of the year. He wins on a road course, this time in Mexico City, locks himself into the playoffs. That's going to have huge implications. We will talk about that in just a minute, but it is his second win because in his partial seasons, specifically in Chicago, year one of Chicago, he won that race as well. So his second win of his career, even though it's his first full-time season. And like I said, for NASCAR, this was the first time they had raced in 67 years on foreign soil. The last time they did that was in Canada, where Lee Petty won, and Richard Petty was a rookie, but what wasn't even in his first full rookie year. He would be Rookie of the Year actually the next season, a race, of course, where he fell out in that race and didn't finish, but his dad won. NASCAR did have a race in 1952 on foreign soil as well, 4 points, in which Buddy Schumann won, that one in Stamford, also in Canada. And of course, we've had exhibition races, most notably in 1997 and 1998 in Motogai in Japan, where Rusty Wallace won the first one and Mike Skinner won the second one over there. And of course, in 1988, a decade before that, we had Bobby Allison winning over there in the Thunderdome in Australia. So welcome to Thunderdome. But this was the first points-paying race, of course, since the 50s. Who knew there would be a Mad Max reference or a Calder Park reference in this episode, but hey, it is what it is. Anyway, it wasn't all fun and games, however, for SVG. It was far from easy because before the race even started, he was suffering from what is referred to as Montezuma's revenge, where apparently he either drank some of the water or had some of the ice in one of his beverages, and he said it was coming out of both ends, said he was hugging or talking to the big white telephone in the post-race interview. So sort of like Michael Jordan's flu game, this was SVG's flu race, where he kind of, despite how he felt, was able to overcome it and wasn't the only driver in the field that had it either. Noah Gragson admitted before the race that he had it as well, didn't fare nearly as well as SVG, so nothing to, just say it was an easy win or anything like that, because even though he was sick and won the race, there was still some strategy that played into it as well, because his only real competition, it seemed like, in this race was the 54 car of Ty Gibbs, who I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. But the more interesting part of this win for SVG, of course, is that it locks him into the playoffs. So let's take a quick look at how the playoffs stack up right now if the season ended today and where everybody is at. If the playoffs started today, Kyle Larson would be your points leader with all the bonus points and all that stuff that adds up, where William Byron would be the overall regular season champion. We'll show the regular season points here in just a minute. But let's jump down here to the cutoff line where things get interesting. Ryan Preece, who would be in the playoffs right now had Shane VanGisbergen not won, is bumped out because of SVG. And if you look at the point spread right there, 242 points for Shane VanGisbergen, locking himself in. But the one below him, the first man in on points, but not with wins, would be Chase Elliott there at 500 points to Shane VanGisbergen's 242 points. Josh Berry there with 320 points, and Austin Cindric with 337. So this win and you're in format sets up a very unique situation for drivers that race for points. You almost can't race for points if you're at or near that cutoff line. And the reason I say that is because 10 drivers below the cutoff line have won races before. Now, they might not win races all the time, but let's take a look at all of those drivers real quick. Michael McDowell, AJ Allmendinger, Kyle Busch, all of those threats to win, especially with all of the road courses coming up, 2 road course ringers, and of course Kyle Busch has won on a road course before himself. Then you've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who could win or wreck at any given moment. You've got Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, Daniel Suarez, Justin Haley. Yes, Justin Haley has won a race, Brad Keselowski, and Cole Custer. And yes, Cole Custer has won a race, Kentucky, his Rookie of the Year campaign. Stacking there with guys who seem destined to win a Cup Series race who are young, like Noah Gragson, Zane Smith, Ty Gibbs, and Carson Hocevar. And you can't possibly feel comfortable if you're one of these guys right here on the cut line, including Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, and Bubba Wallace. None of those guys can feel super comfortable, and Ryan Preece, even if he points his way in like he did this week, could possibly get knocked out again. So you, at this point, have to look at wins to get in. Because with these road courses, and of course always with super speedway races, anybody could win and get themselves locked into the playoffs. So the way this thing is structured, the way this thing is set up, nobody is safe, and SVG with the win here in Mexico City proved that today. Just for a contrast, I just said Chase Elliott, below Shane VanGisbergen in the playoff points, but Chase Elliott 4th in regular season points. So here are the regular season points where William Byron has a healthy lead over Kyle Larson, who finished second to last, but did get a point for having the fastest lap. So maybe that'll play out well for him going on down the stretch. But anyway, 67 points behind is Kyle Larson. Christopher Bell in 3rd place, 80 points behind. Chase Elliott 4th place, 104 points behind. So just a huge disparity between the regular season championship points and how the playoffs would stack up if they ended today. So that is definitely the biggest point to take away from this Mexico race. All right, let's take a look at the top 10 and who had a good and bad race. SVG, of course, getting his 2nd win of his career, has a good race. Christopher Bell, a road course ringer, no surprise there. Chase Elliott, also good on road courses, no surprise there. Alex Bowman, we'll talk about him in just a second. He's good at road course races, but he was dealing with some stuff. And then Michael McDowell, of course, probably had a car that could win this race, but he was on that same strategy as Ty Gibbs, who, once again, we're going to talk about in just a minute. But yeah, Alex Bowman here was having difficulty moving around from that crash the previous race where he went nose first into the wall. These stiff cars, claiming another victim, but could barely move. But he toughed it out, and he just wanted to make all the laps in this race. So that 4th place, nothing to sneeze at or anything, because the fact that he could barely press the brake pedal at a road course, very, very impressive work here from Alex Bowman. So I wanted to give a shout out to him there. You don't really want to celebrate, a 4th place finish or a 3rd place finish or anything like that, but well done. John Hunter Nemechek, after a recent skid, gets back into the top 10 with a 6th place finish here. Chase Briscoe with a 7th place finish where he kind of hit everything on the racetrack at various points. Cole Custer with a nice 8th place finish. A good run. Haas needed that. Cole Custer needed that. William Byron with a 9th place finish. He was quiet all day, but at the end showed up. Chris Buescher, sort of in the same boat, kind of quiet all day, but then shows up here at the end. And then 11 through 15, you got Ty Gibbs, Bubba Wallace, AJ Allmendinger, Ryan Blaney, and Ryan Preece. And that 11th place man, Ty Gibbs, is who I want to talk about right there. Looked like he had a car capable of winning. His crew chief made a conservative strategy. I liked the strategy when he did it, but then that caution comes out, and it ends up being a poor strategy. So it was just a tale of 2 different strategies. Some guys were on the strategy that SVG was on, where they took the track position and they expected a caution, and that caution did come. So shout out to them. They did their research, they did their analytics, and all that stuff. I thought it was a terrible call at the time, but it ended up being the right call. So shout out to the crew chief there. But Ty Gibbs' crew chief went the more conservative route, a route honestly I would have taken as well. But it ends up biting them because that caution falls at a time that they didn't need it to happen, and he gets caught mid-pack, was never able to get back up. In fact, he burned off the front tires trying to get to the front as SVG's teammate Ross Chastain was making it really difficult for him to get around, so ended up burning off the tires there. But he looked like he was going to be the only real competition, possibly actually had a faster car than the 88 there as well. But as good as an 11th place finish is, bad race, I'm going to say, for Ty Gibbs, because he certainly wanted to get that first win. But no matter what happened there, Ty Gibbs definitely let him know that he was at the track and he was prepared to win a race. So look for him going forward at these other road courses to be a contender as well. And with that smooth transition into bad race, Kyle Busch here finishing dead last, taking himself out and taking out Kyle Larson. Kyle on Kyle crime there. Unfortunate for both of those drivers. You saw the regular season points gap now for Kyle Larson, and of course Kyle Busch on that cut line didn't do himself any favors as well. Then you got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. up here, who finished in 27th, and you've got Carson Hocevar here finishing in 34th. And those guys once again got together. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had some words for Carson Hocevar after the race, saying he was going to whoop his tail when he went eye to eye with him in the race car, which would be the only time that him and Carson Hocevar would be eye to eye because of the significant height difference in the two. We've seen NASCAR sort of go to this TMZ style, so I don't want to give this any more air and any more space than it deserves, because once again, it's just two drivers having conflict. Neither one of them's in the top 10 in points. So, if they fight, they fight. I don't think they will, but to call this an altercation when once again they're just talking trash to each other, it is what it is. There you go. I covered it. All right, and one more thing before we go here. Daniel Suarez did win the Xfinity Series race, and it was anything but cut and dry. Had to have some things fall his way. In fact, all of the cars that were faster than him had to have trouble, and they managed to have trouble. So Daniel Suarez ends up getting the win. A little bit of controversy. A few people thought he should have been penalized for track limits. That never came to fruition. The only thing consistent about NASCAR is the inconsistency of their cautions, so or their penalties. So it is what it is. You can call foul, you can call fair. Just depends on what day and what race it is as to what NASCAR is going to do about things. But interesting, because this is the first time I can ever remember two foreign-born drivers winning both top-tier touring series weekends ever. So I don't know if this is the first time ever, but it's the first time I can ever remember. Daniel Suarez, a U.S. citizen now, but he was definitely born in Mexico. So the hometown kid got the win, and then the guy from New Zealand, Shane VanGisbergen, SVG, gets the win as well. So that's the first time I can remember that happening. But let me know in the comments down below if there was another weekend where only foreign-born drivers won in the Cup Series, and Xfinity Series, Busch Series, whatever it was called back then. But yeah, that's all I got for you on this one. If you made it this far, I appreciate you, and until the next one, thanks for your time. Peace.